Howdy, Immortalium here. You might notice the lighting's a bit different in this video. That's because I got I'm not sure what the term it is, it's a 400 watt light for an unrelated event, but I decided that I could try using it here. And you see, one of the problems I've always had is that my videos are full of gain. But using this light, I should be able to get rid of the gain. Now, I still haven't mastered the lighting. I was trying to use some reflectivity over here to try to light up this side of the face, but it doesn't seem to be working as well as I was hoping. So just keep it in mind, it's an experiment, and if it turns out to be too ugly, I'll remove it. Anyway, point is, today I'm going to be reviewing the complete series of 7 Billion Needles. Now, 7 Billion Needles was sent to me by a friend, Untitled Manga, because I won his well, I wasn't the only winner in his contest. Me, among two others, won. I'm not sure what they won, actually. If any of you are watching, actually, I'd love for you guys to send me the videos of you unboxing Untitled Manga's prizes. But for the moment, I'm reviewing the series. Now, this is one of Untitled Manga's favourite manga series, as far as I can tell. He's always highly recommending this. And so he was particularly excited for me to read this. And what would my opinion be on this series? It's a very good series. I enjoyed it. But from what I can tell, I had a more lackluster reaction, one could say, to this than Untitled Manga. So, first of all, I'll explain myself. Let me get into the plot first. So we're introduced to a girl. It's kind of hard to see her here, but this is the best shot I can find for her. Hikaru Takabe. She's... how can I describe it? She's antisocial. She's... at the beginning of the story, she's off at this camp with a whole bunch of her classmates. She doesn't talk to anyone. She goes out for a walk on the beach, and she sees this, like a meteor, a comet thing come down. And, like, this isn't a spoiler, but you see this skeleton over here? That's actually her getting disintegrated by this meteor. And then, next scene, she's back at school, all normal, which was a bit confusing, and it turns out that this being called Horizon has entered her and is seeking another being that has come onto Earth called Maelstrom. So that's the basic gist of the story, at least the beginning of it. So I must confess, I preferred volumes 1 and 2 to volumes 3 and 4. Now, I will give several reasons for this. One is that this is an issue that's actually applied to another series I have called A Devil and Her Love Song. And basically, it's where an interesting character develops into a less interesting character, but it's more they're more normal. So, for example, in Devil and Her Love Song, the lead character, Maria, was quite antisocial, she was quite aggressive. I thought she was a more interesting character at that point, and as the series has progressed, she's developed into a more normal girl, which has maybe kind of disappointed me. It's a natural progression, but it's still annoying. And that's the same with Hikaru in 7 Billion Needles. She starts out the series quite interesting. She kind of has this great kind of passive aggressiveness to everyone around her. And the way that she reacts to Horizon talking to her all the time, she just takes everything kind of in stride and is kind of arrogant in some regards. Despite the fact that there's this essentially alien being living inside her body, talking to her all the time and keeping her awake and everything. I thought at that point she was far more interesting, and her character was still far more interesting in Volume 2 when she ended up actually going somewhere with friends. But by Volume 3 and 4, I thought her character development had become quite stalemated at a kind of a simple, I wouldn't go so far as to say kind of a shonen hero kind of way, but it felt to me like she was like Naruto or Luffy or someone who was fighting to protect her friends, you know? So I found that quite disappointing. The other characters are interesting, but some of them are underdeveloped. There's a being that's introduced some way through. I think it might have been in Volume 3 he was introduced, but he's this kind of... he's this guy, kind of evolution checker, was that his name? He kind of just keeps track of evolution on planets, and he comes to Earth and there's a kind of a period of kind of wonderment, kind of wondering who is this guy, and we never really get a proper answer, which I found kind of disappointing. But from Horizon and Maelstrom's perspective, we do get some pretty good character development from their part. We get to kind of understand who they are, how their life has been up to this point, how the development of Hikaru has influenced them, etc., etc. So overall, the character development is a bit mixed. You know, it's like overall, it's still pretty good. The story itself is fascinating. There's a lot of great kind of philosophical kind of discussions on, you know, the way that humanity should progress, the way that we should interact with one another, etc., etc. What are our true desires? So I appreciated the story itself. The story is very good, but the characters inhabiting them, I just found a little iffy with some of them. Now, from an artwork perspective, the artwork actually improves as the series progresses. I looked this up, the reviews of it, before I read it. So I kind of understood what a lot of people were saying, a lot of their problems. It's got some great detail and some great kind of character designs. Like, I think this is kind of speaks for itself. But one thing that kind of stood out to me was how awkward some of the male character designs were. What I mean by that is some of them look exactly the same as others. If I can get you an example, there's a boy introduced in Volume 2, and I'm not sure, kind of this face, and he looks like, besides a change of hair color, he looks exactly like a boy from Volume 1. They're two different characters, but it's just kind of disorienting. Look, I'll show you. Okay, so that boy over here is different from this guy over here. I'm not sure if you can see his face. The thing is, when I first saw him, for a moment I thought it was the same character. I got really confused. So, and that kind of pops up again and again, these character designs. A lot of them are very similar-ish, and in fact, I'm just trying to... I don't know if the mangaka was a male or female, but the female designs are actually far superior to the male designs. So, I don't know. Usually that would imply it's a female mangaka. I don't know. I need to look up who, like Nobuaki Tadano afterwards to see if that's a female. But from an actual artistic perspective, there's great detail. There's great character movement. It's a very nice panel arrangements. Lots of diagonals, which if anyone's seen Triton, was something that was sorely lacking from it. So I think that's my major issue from an artistic perspective, just the kind of very similar-ish character designs. So I just found that problematic. But particularly since it did impact on the story, because I was kind of confused, who is this, who is that? Now, from Vertical's treatment of the manga, they've treated it very well. The guy who designed the covers for this is a guy called Peter Mendelsund. What he's done is he's taking panels from the manga and putting it onto the covers. Now, they're appealing. I kind of wonder what the originals look like in Japan, but, you know, for the most part, they're better done than, say, Tetera and Andromeda stories, which I found kind of ugly looking. Besides that, the paper quality is very nice. It's white. It's kind of this kind of great kind of creamy white, which is high quality. But the problem is the pages are very thin. Keep in mind, this is about 180 pages. If I get out my trusty Yatsuba, this is 180 pages about. And do you see, it looks like this one's much thinner than this one. The reason for that is the pages are thinner. So there was a good bit of page bleeding, which I found irritating at points. It's not overly rampant, the page bleeding, and it's not awful, but it is quite distracting when it does pop up. So I found that kind of disappointing. Besides that, though, like the translation is fluid and clean, particularly with all the science fiction terms. The size of the tankobon, it's quite small. It's actually a little smaller than your standard tankobon. I think it's about Japanese sized tankobon. So That it's a bit small, but it's fine. That's fine. And no translation notes, although I don't really think there was anything necessary to translate. So overall, Vertical gave this a very good presentation. I would have just liked maybe thicker pages a bit, but besides that, that's good. So overall, my opinion on 7 Billion Needles is that it's very good. I did enjoy it, but I probably did not enjoy it as much as Archangel did. I'm sorry, Archangel, but definitely I'm very glad to have this in my collection. It is a good series. It's one that I will consider reading again at some point. Maybe I'll like it more then. But I did find some of the character development a bit problematic, and I did find, some of the character designs a bit, repetitive. But besides that, it's a great read and I would recommend it. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.